Another survival tool is an advanced system of communication. They can intimidate their rivals with subsonic pulses. In their mating rituals, alligators use low-frequency growls to make the water on their backs dance. They are highly vocal animals. From the bellowing of adult gators to the mewling of young crocs. In many species, these small noises act as an alarm system when the young are endangered. The involvement of the mother in the rearing of her young is almost unique among reptiles. The female American alligator is among the most caring of crocodilian parents. She helps her hatchlings break free from their eggs and cradles them in her bone-crushing jaws. Perhaps this is a partial answer to the riddle of how the crocodilian.
So this is the main breeding lake here.
He is working with Kent Fleet, an advisor to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm in Florida.
Small adult females.
They've been asked by National Geographic to try and calculate the bite force of Sarcosuchus. Was it powerful enough to take down a dinosaur? Greg has a custom-made bite bar that will gauge the force of a gator's bite. To estimate the bite force of Super Croc, he will scale this up, way up.
You can imagine there must have just been incredible encounters between, these 35-foot behemoths, and also they must have been taking out very large prey items. I mean, these animals lived at a time when there were all kinds of giant animals. There were dinosaurs and other creatures of the sea that were just enormous, and it's really neat to sort of speculate what that must have been like. What's your leg? Yeah. What's the offset?
06.
06, we're ready. Okay, here we go. Hang on, people.
Finally, she's ready, and Greg carefully inserts the bite bar between her jaws. But she hasn't finished rolling, and now she has Greg's bite bar wedged between her teeth.
Let her down a little bit. Okay.
This animal just generated a snapping bite of 860 pounds, which is an enormous amount of force, and the pressures were extremely high on the tips of those teeth. So if this animal had, say, tried to take out a large prey item, say a deer or something like that, it certainly could have punctured the hide, and obviously it's exerting that kind of force right now. We can't even get our bite bar back out.
To force the jaws open is equivalent to lifting 860 pounds. You'd need a car jack to pry the bar out.
This is a common behavior in them. It's a defensive thing. If you've bitten down on a potential predator or a rival and you hold on to them, they're obviously not going to be able to turn and get a hold of you. An overpowering bite obviously implies some dominance.
"20 minutes later, they finally get the bar back. Greg and team need data from different size animals. They move on to test a large male, not knowing the kind of power this animal's jaws will be capable of.
Good bite.
Excellent.
2125.
What's that, Billy? 2125.
2,125 pounds.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Wow.
Over a ton of force in a split second.
The bite force we measured of 2,125 pounds is the highest bite force ever measured for any animal living today. And just for comparison, the spotted hyena, the bone-crushing champion among mammals, only generates a bite about half that, around 1,000 pounds. Animals such as lions are similarly in that range. Sharks are a little bit lower. 2,125 pounds, that's equivalent to putting a small pickup truck on top of this animal's head and pressing its teeth down. So you can imagine just incredible pressure was generated when it did that bite. In order to generate this 2,000 plus pound bite force, the animal obviously has to have incredibly large adductor musculature, and that's what you see right here, some of the pterygoid muscles. They're just huge. It's just amazing how big this animal really is.
To estimate the bite of Sarcosuchus, Greg must tally bite force against weight. So they have to get this monster onto a scale.
Okay. 662 pounds, 12 foot 2.5. That's a big gator.
But it's a pipsqueak compared to Sarcosuchus.
Clear?
If this animal has the highest bite force ever measured, how big a bite did Super Croc have? To find out, Greg and Kent want to measure a wide range of different crocodile species.
This is where the teeth came across, so we're going to switch to a little bit bigger bar on this animal for health reasons. Everyone okay?
Careful, careful, careful. Got a root.
By plotting the measurements, Greg finds that, not surprisingly, the bigger the beast, the more imposing its chomp.
What we found in this research is that there's a very strong relationship between the body weight of these animals and the bite forces that they can generate. Now, because of that tight relationship, we can predict bite forces for Sarcosuchus.
Greg's data show that Sarcosuchus had a bite force of around 18,000 pounds. Take this bite and multiply it by 9.
Paleontologists have always known that Tyrannosaurus rex had a gargantuan head and mouth. But they didn't know much in detail about how it worked as the animal's major tool in gathering food. Now, scientists have the tools to ask, just how bad was T-Rex's bite? Biologist Greg Erickson thinks he knows. When not in the lab, Erickson is in the field wrangling gators. There, he has taken his two passions and fused them in a cutting-edge research program to test his theories about the bite of T-Rex.
Crocodilians are the only toothed archosaurian reptiles. In other words, they're close relatives of the group that dinosaurs belong to, but they're the only ones living that have teeth. So crocodilians are our best model to figure out how the teeth and the muscles and the jaws and all that worked biomechanically to allow these animals to generate bite forces.
In order to determine the bite force of a living alligator, Erickson uses a tool called a bite force transducer.
Basically what we do is you go up to an alligator and tap them on the snout and they'll open up. They're more than willing to bite you. And you stick this device on their teeth and they bite down on that and it registers the force instantly and we record that on our computers.
The data Erickson collects allows him to understand how everything from the tissue to the teeth to bones and muscle of an alligator function, enabling him to estimate what the actual bite force of T-Rex would have been.
It's all very preliminary at this point, but I suspect that the bite forces of Tyrannosaurus rex were somewhere in the range of 20,000 pounds. Essentially cut right through you is what it would do. They wouldn't actually get a grip on you as much as they'd just take a huge chunk out of you.